And in the last part, you should have made the cube. You should have saved it into your documents, ideally in a folder, and given it your name. And in this video, we're going to show you how to put in your initials and how to put the hole in. The first thing we're going to do is the hole, though. It's kind of important we do this first because it would get in the way of the other features if you did it. All right. So there's your cube from last lesson. I'm just going to remind you how to open it. All right. I know it sounds stupid. Now, when you've loaded Inventor, so assuming you've come back for lesson 2 and you've forgotten everything you learned last week, come in, load Inventor. Inventor will load and go File, Open. Now, if you're lucky, it should actually be listed here already. See, look, I've got Year 7 3D printed cube. If it isn't, you either saved it somewhere silly, but you should have saved it in your documents. So your area, your documents, I made a section called Year 7 Technology, and I put it there, all right? And open your file. Just click yes if you get any messages. All right, it's kind of silly that I have to show people and remind people where to find their files, but you wouldn't believe the number of people every lesson we have who go, "Sir, I can't find my work." Well, anyway, that's for those people. So once you've loaded it, we're going to go on to making the circle hole now. So I want you to first of all make sure you remind yourself how to move around. So remember, scroll the mouse wheel to zoom in and out, click the mouse button to move left and right, hold shift on the keyboard and the middle mouse button to rotate around. Anyway, when you're happy with your view, we're going to put our first hole in the top of our cube. So it'd be a good idea to click top on your cube. This will just make sure it prints the same way up as everyone else's. So click top on your cube. If you're being fussy, you can click these 2 big arrows here and rotate it round. So it actually top is the right way up as well. And you're going to make another sketch now on the top of this cube. So click start sketch and then click on the top of the cube. You'll see we've changed back to all our 2D drawing tools. Again, you may need to pan your view, clicking the middle mouse button in. And what you're going to do is draw a circle. So pick the circle tool and draw it roughly in the top left for now. So just click once, drag it out, and we're going to go with a 5mm circle. So again, you can either guess or actually just type the number 5 and hit enter. Okay. What's very important now is that we position the circle exactly the right distance from the top edge and the side edge. This is mega important you do this bit. Don't skip it, because otherwise when we draw the circle on the other face, it won't line up. So I'm going to click Dimension up here. I'm going to click once on the middle bit of the circle. I'm going to then click once on this horizontal line at the top, and then I'm going to move my mouse sideways. Can you see what that's done? Given me a dimension which I can click to place, and I'm going to change that to 5. See, it's moved it up 5. I'll just do that. Well, I'm now going to do it again for the distance from this edge to here. So pick dimension, click the circle dot in the middle, click once on here, then move your mouse down or up, it's up to you. Okay, and click again to place and just type your number 5. All right, when you've done it right, your circle should make a tangent with these lines here. A tangent means where it meets exactly, okay, at the point. All right, that's good. So click Finish Sketch. And now we're back to 3D mode. I would advise rotate your view a little bit so you're sort of looking at it like that-ish. Doesn't have to be too perfect. And we're now going to choose Extrude. So Extrude. Now, it should automatically pick the circle. If it doesn't, just select the circle first. Now, rather than adding material this time, we want to make a hole into here. So you're going to need this middle option. Can you see this one here that I'm circling with the mouse? That cuts away material, and you'll see it's automatic. If I select that, it's automatically jumped into the middle of the work here. Right, we're going to cut in. I'm just trying to do my maths here. Should be... let's do, I think it's 7.5. So I'm going to type 7.5mm. Probably doesn't matter if it's too much. All right. And you can see that's going to make a hole 7.5mm in. Click OK. And we've made 1/2 of the hole for our keyring. We now need to make a hole on here that will punch through and join up with that hole. So everything in 3D CAD starts with a 2D sketch. You draw it in 2D and then you extrude it into the third dimension. So go and make another sketch. This one you're going to sketch on this face here, the one at 90 degrees to that circle. So click on there. It will spin your view round. So if you were watching, our other circles coming in here. So this hole needs to be in the top right now. Right, if you're unsure, just rotate your view slightly and just check. Right, we're trying to punch through into this one. I'm just going to show you the webcam so you can understand what we're trying to do here. Okay, you get the idea? One hole has to meet up with the other hole in order that this keyring can pass through both of them. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So when you're confident you're drawing in the right zone, remember you can always click back on your cube to bring your view back round. Draw yourself another circle roughly in the right place. Again, you want it to be 5, so type 5 and hit enter. And now we need to get the dimension tool and do what we did on the last one. We're going to position it exactly. So we're going to click the center, and we're going to click the very top here and choose 5. And we're going to click the center and here and choose 5. Okay, and again, if you've done something wrong, just right click OK, choose the dimension that's duff and delete it. All right. So for instance, if some of you might have accidentally picked those 2 lines. All right. And obviously that's in the wrong place. Doesn't matter. Don't panic. Don't put your hand up. Just right click OK, choose the dimension, hit delete on your keyboard and do it again. Okay. So click top 5, click side 5. All right. Again, you don't have to repeat what I'm doing here. This is just for those of you that might have messed it up. Right. When you are happy that that is exactly tangent to here and here, and rotate your view around and go, yeah, that looks about right, you can finish your sketch and you can extrude it. So click extrude. Now we want to cut 7.5. Okay. And as we can see, that more than enough goes past this circle into here. Click OK. There we go. Right, you should be able to look through one hole and out the other. See daylight, all right, if you've done it correctly. So congratulations if you've done that. You've achieved the one of the trickiest parts. The rest of it is now down to you to customize. So I'd advise you to save your work here. Click save. And I'm going to show you how to put letters on. And then the rest really is down to you. So if I was going to put letters, I'm going to go with, I don't know, I'm going to put R on this face, O on this face, and B on that face. So I'm going to start with my letter R on here. So that's where I want to put my sketch. So start. I want to sketch on this flat area there. Now, you could draw a letter by hand, or you could make your life easier and pick the text tool. So I'm going to click text. Might take a little while to load. And I'm just going to type the letter R. Now, before you click OK, you need to change the size of the R. Now, if we think about it, the whole cube was 20. This was a 2.5mm fillet. So there's 5 millimeters. So 2.5 is 5. So 20 minus 5 leaves 15. So this bit from here to here should be 15 high. So if you want your letter to fill up the whole of the square, you want to select it so it's highlighted, and up in this box here type 15. Okay. Now you can choose different fonts here, right? So like Impact is quite a cool font. I'm going to pick R like that. Click OK. Now right click OK. You may find your letter is facing the wrong way. That's fine if it is, because we can rotate it. Okay. If it is wonky, just select it, click rotate, and it says pick a center point. I would just pick maybe, it doesn't really matter, like anywhere, see this little red blob appears there? So pick that and type in your angle. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I've done that wrong. Ignore me. Right, so rotate. First thing you need to do is select what you want to rotate, which we have done. Center point. Right. Yeah, so select it, make sure it's blue, then click center point, click anywhere, like maybe bottom left, and then look, can you see you can sort of spin it round just by moving your mouse. Now, in my case, because there's 360 degrees in a circle, it would be, the angle would be 270. All right. If I take 90 degrees off 360, you get 270, and click apply when you're done, or can hit enter. Right. Doesn't matter if it rotates and it's not in the right place, because you can just click and drag it into the spot you want it. Okay. Anyway, when you've done your letter, click finish. Now, although that looks like a letter, it's not actually made any detail on it. If we were to 3D print this, that letter wouldn't actually appear. We need to extrude it into our object. So pick extrude. It may, this time you'll have to pick the profile. It's saying like, what do you want me to extrude, man? Well, this bit. Okay, so click the black R, and by default, it will want to add it on as an embossed image. You could do that, but I want you to make it as a cut, please. So to make it as a cut, you need to click the middle one. That will cut in. You may need to click that arrow here as well to make sure it's going into the object. And I would advise only cut in by maybe 2 millimeters maximum. Right? If you go too far, it actually looks worse, and you'll find these little details will break off. So click 2, and you'll see what that's done. That's put R for Rob in there. Now I've decided I don't actually like how deep that is, so I'm going to change it. Right, and I can do that by looking at my history over here. The last thing I did was extrusion 4. I can right click on it, edit that feature, and that will bring back up this menu, and I'm going to go for a 1 mil. Okay, I think that looks a bit better. Right, so I've done R. I'm going to repeat the process now. So I want to put an O on here, so I make a sketch. I click on this face. I get my text tool, type an O, highlight it, make this 15 high. Again, you can make it as tall or as little as you want. I wouldn't go bigger than 15 because it'll look weird. I had impact as my font. Okay, luckily it's already the right way around. Drag it roughly into position, click finish, and extrude. Sorry, did a keyboard shoot. Right, I pressed E on the keyboard. You can click extrude or you can press E. So extrude, what do I want to extrude? That. Which way do I want to do it? I want to cut, and I want to go in 1 millimeter. Okay, so I've got R, O. I'm going to do B on this face. So same process, start with a sketch. Click where you want to sketch. Get your text tool. B, highlight it, 15 tool, impact for the font. Click OK, right click OK, need to rotate it, so I'm going to pick it, rotate, center point, select, and then what do I want? 90 degrees this time. Now I know, sorry, that's sort of put it up over there, but you might have to mess around with rotate until you get it the right way. Drag it into position. Now I'm going to have it sort of overlapping the hole slightly, so I want it centered, extrude, as a cut. ROB, there you go. That would be it. That's your cube done. Save your work. Now, if you want, you can also customize the top and bottom. My advice would be I wouldn't bother with the bottom, to be honest, because again, when it prints, it will print the bottom side, and I don't know if you can see very clearly on the webcam, it's not the best quality. Can you see it's got this? This is where it's pressed into the printer bed, so you get this kind of really bad effect. And also, if you did have any hollow areas here, it would have that scaffolding I was talking about, and you'd have to break it all out with a pair of pliers, and it'd be a right faff. So if you're going to do a custom thing and you've got time, I would advise do it on the top or one of the sides. You don't have to have your initials on it, by the way. I'm just going to show you how to make, I don't know, your own picture. But do what you want. So, right, I'm now going to do something on the top just to customize it. So I'm going to start a new sketch on the top. All right, and then really, you can do what you like here. You can do your own pattern. The only rules for extruding is it must form a complete loop, like a racetrack. Whatever line you draw as an outline must join back up to the start. So I'll show you what I mean there. If I was to say, I've just chosen a spline tool here. If I was to do that, I can't extrude that because that doesn't form a loop. All right, I'll show you. If I go finish sketch and try to extrude it, it won't let me do it. All right, because there's no loop there. All right. What I could do though, if I turn it into a loop by getting, say, a line tool and joining these two endpoints together, make sure it goes green because then you know you're right on the end of the line. Finish the sketch. That is now a loop, and I should be able to pick extrude and it will choose it. Okay. So have a play around. You could put your own detail on the top. There are all sorts of tools in Inventor. Like you can do, for instance, you could do a pattern. You could do like a circle, and then you could choose, mess around with these, like rectangular pattern. What do you want to pattern? This, what direction? Oh, it's not going to let me do that. All right, don't ignore the pattern tool. I'll let you play with that if you want. But there are, look, under here you've got splines for drawing freeform curves. You've got ellipses. You've got arcs. You've got slots. All right, you know, so you can do something like that. You get the idea. So if you want to, you can customize the top. If you're happy with just your initials, leave it at that. If you don't want your initials on the side, fine. But I want you to customize something. All right, I don't just want a cube. I want you to put some detail on it to make it look cool. All right. Anyway, when you are done, save your work. And then what I need you to do is save your work into a particular format. This is very important. This is so the teachers can 3D print your work for you. So go to File. This is when you've finished and are completely sorted. And you're going to go to Export CAD Format. Now watch closely for this bit. First thing you need to do is go down to this drop-down box and choose STL. All right, that's the format that our 3D printers use. If you don't pick that, it won't work. And before you go ahead and click Save, you must go to Options. You must make sure this is changed. In yours, it'll probably be centimeters. Change it to millimeters. And make sure the resolution is set from low to high. Otherwise, you'll lose quality. It won't look very good. Right, so millimeters and high. Click OK. And make sure it's STL. And then save it in that same area. Okay. Now, your teacher at this point may have somewhere else for you to save your work to. I'm not going to say where that is at the moment because I don't know whether we're going to be using the student drive next year. I'm recording this in June and you'll be doing it in September, or whether we'll be using some fancy new cloud drive. All right, but save your work to your area as an STL file, and then when your teacher tells you exactly where they want it, you might have to copy it across to another area. But that is it. I think the only other thing you need to do possibly is to take a screenshot of your work and then do some annotations around it to explain what you made and how. Okay, but congratulations, you've learned how to use 3D CAD software. And what's more important is you've used the same bit of 3D CAD software that is used by real engineers and designers in the real world to design anything from cars to aeroplanes, boats, huge things, right? So well done. It's a difficult software package and you've done well if you've got to this stage. So good luck.